subject matter expert, consulting individuals, trainer, coach, and leader of the organization. You can join the online live event by Zoom or watch the recorded version on YouTube channel of PMI Chapter Indonesia. And please subscribe and like our YouTube channel. And if you like to become speaker in the prank session, you may contact PMI Indonesia program section. Today, we will have Ibu Mimi Syahputri as our speaker. To Ibu Putri, thank you for coming and speaking in our prank sharing session. Today session is about drug development projects. As we know, drug development is a complex process, time-consuming and highly expensive investment. And we may tend to think that drug, medicine, and healthcare is like spare tire, like insurance. As long as we have insurance, we have good and balanced life. We thought that it is okay, and we are hoping that we will not have to use the spare tire or the insurance. But if you are asking ChatGPT, people now use ChatGPT many times, or you Google it, what is 10 deadliest disease in Indonesia? We will have on top of the list cardiovascular disease, stroke, heart attack, tumor, diabetic, respiratory disease, high blood pressure, and many more. And then we have COVID-19 pandemic. In the beginning, we don't have the medicine, the vaccine. And what we can do is to isolate ourselves. We are hiding to protect our life. And so we are losing, actually we are losing our social life. We may survive, we may not lose our life, but we are losing our social life. And because we live in a highly mobile community, and with the current lifestyle, the chance that we will get either one of the disease or get infected during the pandemic is almost certain, particularly for the infectious disease during the pandemic. So today we will be hearing from our speaker about the issue and the trend on drug development process. Why is it taking so long time? Why is it so highly regulated? And how to fast track the process if it can be done. For a brief introduction about our speaker, you can see on the flyers, our speaker is Ibu Putri. She is a pharmaceutical expert, graduated from University of Indonesia with a bachelor in pharmacy and also pharmacist professional program. She then continued postgraduate study in National University of Singapore and completed also a master degree in pharmaceutical technology from Trinity College Dublin, and followed by a pharmaceutical science program from Institute of Technology Sligo. And she has long work experience starting as a pharmacist in a hospital, and then continued with Bristol Myers Squibb as a manufacturing technologist, and then QA section head, and then she moved to Novartis Singapore as QA release engineer, and then become the site regulatory facilitator. She also has experience in G5 Singapore as head of QMI Southeast Asia, and she's currently working with Boehringer Ingelheim Indonesia as head of quality assurance. You can find the LinkedIn profile and can contact him through the LinkedIn profile. So we will start. Before that, I will, as a ground rule, I will, as always, have to inform you that all the participants will be muted, and please turn off your video. And if you have a question, type and submit in the chat box. And if you want to watch the recorded session, you can find in the YouTube channel. For our PMI chapter member, you will get e-certificate and PDU, Professional Development Unit, automatic submission. And yeah, you can watch in the YouTube channel. So please enjoy, give us feedback. Thank you, and we will start. Ibu Putri, I will stop sharing and pass the control to you.
Okay, thank you, Bimo. So good evening, everyone. I'm not too sure whether you also are located in other region. Just in case, I will also say that good morning, if any, and also good afternoon. So I will start my presentations now. So let me know that if you already have my slides
Yeah,
on screen already. Okay, great.
I can see
So
your slide. Yeah.
okay, cool. So thank you for having me, PMI Indonesia chapter. So as mentioned that my name, you can call me Putri, you can call me Mimi, it's up to you. So both name, if you call me, then I will respond. And as mentioned that I'm currently working in Boehringer Ingelheim, is a German pharmaceutical company located in Bogor as a quality operation head. So during these sessions, like Bimo has mentioned, that I would like to share about how is our drug development projects at glance, why it takes so long, and then why all of a sudden the vaccine can take so short periods, and then how actually in Indonesia the drug developments progressions look alike. So before that, I think I will start with the overview of the sessions. So it will divide it into 4 topics that I would like to share with you. So it's regarding the overview of pharmaceutical industry itself, the drug development phases, and how the fast track in the drug development happening, and the short overview about the drug development in Indonesia. So hopefully that all this glance information can give you a flavors, can you give an overview and the feelings of how actually one medicine, so one drug can be available in the market, and how is the journey of the process from the beginning it is invented until it's marketed to the market. So before that, I think I would like to know that from the audience here. So how many of you that's ever worked with the healthcare industry? Maybe we can start polling, Bimo. Would that be okay?
Okay, I will launch the poll. Yeah. Can you see the poll on your screen?
Yes, if yes, then for me, I can see that. For the audience, it will be helpful that if you can share with me that whether you ever work in the life science industry, like pharmaceuticals, pharma, personal care, medical devices, healthcare, or even foods, those that related with the human or medicine industry.
Yeah, it's coming the polling, the answer. I think
Great.
still moving.
Yep.
We wait.
So let's wait for a
Yeah.
while until everyone can put the poll.
Another 5 seconds.
I think that's great.
Okay. Okay, we share the poll.
Okay, great. So let's see. Oh, okay. So for those that ever work with the life science, I hope this is kind of refreshments for you all, and for the people that may be new to this healthcare industry, can give you overview at glance of flavors how the pharmaceutical the life science industry looks alike. Okay, thank you, Bimo, for the polling. So we can
Okay.
start the main presentations. So what actually the pharmaceutical industry? The pharmaceutical industry itself is the industry that dealing with the from the beginning of the research, development, productions, and distribution of medicines. But some of the for the originators, like the one that a big pharma company, they may have very full research and development to find a new chemical, a new substance for the new product, for the new medicines for the healthcare. But some of the industry normally in emerging market, they may just like developing. So they are doing like the Me Too product from those that already marketed, and they put it in the group of the generic product, doing the development of the process, and then start productions and do the distributions. So those variations is also happening, whether they do the full research and development from the beginning of the new chemical entity, or maybe they just start from the copying the product from those that already off patent, and they start to develop in the generic versions. And this industry globally has a consistent growth, so it's really like stabilized even during the during the crisis and situations, the difficult situation of economic. This industry is still consistent growing, because this is something that people, even though we don't like it to take a medicines, but for whatever reason, sometimes we need to come up to be in that situations and consume the medicines for our health purposes. So even for the 2 decades now, it's have a very significance. Moreover, now there is a lot of the oncology product which is quite expensive, and now we are see that there is a lot of vaccine available in the market even during the pandemic. So there is a lot of additional combination of medicines that start being developed. So you can see that in this graphic that there is a significant in these 2 decades. So this is actually how the pharma company, the big pharma company, especially to put certain amount to invest in the research development, so they always get a new pipeline either in 5 or 10 years ahead. So because that's the only way for them to keep survive and also competitive with the rest of the company. Okay, so how is the pharmaceutical industry looks like? Is I may say that is very high regulated. So it's how it is. May say that how high is high. The pharma industry regulated is really depend on the manufacturing site locations and the market that we supply. For examples that um, we have a pharmaceuticals located in Indonesia. So for sure that we need to follow the regulation of our health authority, which is BPOM. So we need to fulfill the requirement that's already stated in the regulations. But if like say, okay, we already have a certificate from BPOM, we already supply nicely in Indonesia market, then we would like to expand it to US, for example. Then we need to have our facility being certified by the US FDA, the health authority body of USA. So then we need to also fulfill all the requirement. They may come to our site to do the audit whether our standard of manufacturing the medicine is already fulfilled their requirement. And let's say we would like to expand more to the another markets, for example, the EU continent. And this is the same that at the same, and we also need to fulfill the requirement of the Europe medicine regulations. So then they may also again come and they may also request additional document that already state in their regulations. So this is actually how we say that is the industry is quite regulated, because there is a lot of standard and requirement that we need to fulfill before we can have our sites certified and qualified to supply the medicine to any market that we would like to uh, achieve. So how is the general market inflation look like? So actually, from the nutshell, it's just like a 3 steps. Then we need to like have all the documents submitted, and the health authority will do the review. They may come to verify the data on site, do the audit certain days, and then they come back to their country or they come back to their office and then do further evaluation, asking this data, and then they may request us to do the testing, etc. If they agreed, then we are good to supply the product to their market. So it looks like it's very simple: submissions, review, decisions, and then supply. But actually, in terms of the process itself, if it's really new submissions, it may take about 3 to 24 months for to get the approval. So it sometimes depends on the type of the medicine. If the medicine is more like the OTC product, then the process may be shorter, but it's related to the biopharmaceutical product like vaccine, like oncology product for the cancer, etc. They may take further evaluation that takes some time to get the approval. But once we get the approval in certain market, when it comes to the renewal, and the process of renewal normally like every 3 years to 5 years, then the process is more shorter. And the document that they requested is also less. Then we can still continue to supply the product to the market. So if we like to know that what the regular why they take so much effort to do the evaluations, because there's need to ensure that whatever the product that going to their market is a consistent in terms of the safety, so it will not give any issue on the safety in the patient patients, and the quality of product is according to the standards that we already committed, and the identity of product, there is no falsifying product, there is no manipulated or counterfeited potential products that being supplied in the market, and the efficacy of product, if we say that this is for cardiovascular and it really shows that is really cure the cardiovascular issue, and also is a pure with very minimum contaminations. So why is so tedious? Because the medicines is taken when people body is not in the good condition. So we may have very low immune because our sickness, and the medicines that we take, it should give very less side effect, because in when our condition is very sick, the immune is low. If there is additional unexpected effect, will make the illness become worse. So that's why the nature of this medicine is really need to be ensure the safety, quality, identity, efficacy, and purity. And if may wonder that there is so many countries in the world with some of them has their own regulations. So how actually the regulations looks like in the worldwide? So the biggest one that's very well known and very strict, very demanding is the US FDA. And then we also know that in Europe there is a EMA, and we also have in Australia they have a TGA, and the China also now have the China FDA, and then also the other countries have their own regulations. Even though they have so many countries with their own regulations, but actually it's not that much different in terms of regulations. They do aware about the need for harmonizations, because at the end the medicines can become a global market, so they need to have like a harmonized standard, where if one company follow that standard, then it can be more or less accepted with very slightly adjustment. For example, the harmonization now, there is organizations that call the International Conference Harmonization is the one that gathering all the regulations to set the harmonized standard. So if let's say Indonesia follow that harmonized standard, so more or less it's not far away from US FDA regulation, we just may need to have the certain adjustment. So that's actually in terms of the regulation. Yes, there is many, but if we take a look of each individual regulations, it's not that much differences. Okay, so we can start with the now the drug development phases. Before we move that, I think I know that only 15% that ever work with the life science. Maybe I also would like to know that another pooling, Bimo. Would that be okay?
Okay. Yeah, we have another polls. Okay. This second polls. Yeah.
So ever you we are wondering whether you ever work with the like product development, not necessarily from the beginning of the new chemical inventions, but maybe like the development from the product transfers or development from the product that already in the market, where you do the generic versions, etc.
This could be also for other industry
Yeah.
related to life science or any industry. Let's say the product itself is.
It's like a food. I mean, you are developing the new innovation of the food is also okay.
Okay, still moving.
Great.
Okay, another 5 seconds. Then I will end the polls and share the result. Oh.
Okay. So
Yeah.
some did drug development in their area and some not, but that okay. Thank you very much for your participation on this polling. Okay, we can start for the next phase or the next stage of the how actually drug development phase happening. So as mentioned before, that it looks like if we like to go to the certain market, we just do the submissions. Then after that, we are waiting for the review. They may come to audit, and then we may get the decisions. Hopefully, the decision is approved, and we start to supply the market. But maybe behind the scenes, there is so many steps that's the pharmaceutical industry need to do before they can get the products that really can give the benefit to the patient, can give also the value to the company itself, and also can long lasting to cure the illness and also to improve the healthiness of the populations. So in the beginning, when they would like to develop the product, the first questions that is always asked is, what is your target disease? Bimo already mentioned about 10 top 10 diseases that's now occur in the world. So start diabetes, cardiovascular, etc. So they start to thinking about what is the target disease that we would like to do. Are we going to focus on the unmet illness where there is no medications available? So can we start to develop from that one, or we can just focus on the 10 diseases that's a lot of patients that suffer with? And then when it comes to the target disease, they start to thinking that, is it a widespread disease? Is it something that's happening in the whole world? And then and the second question is this affect the first words? Like or dislike, the first word is always a considerations because this first worlds like US is a very good spending on the they spend a lot on medicine, so either from the government program or from the out of pocket. So that is also the consideration for them that whether this is also can penetrate and that can give the benefit from the first world, so the Europe, Japan, etc. And then when they already consider that, then they start to think that whether the drug is already in the market, because they also need to think that if there is a drug in the market, so I need to give the drug that give more advantage. I cannot give the drug that's just a so-so compared with the one that already available in the market. So they need to think of that as well. And then what the type, if let's say we still want to compete with the existing drug that already available in the market, what will be our benefit on that? Would that be the benefit that our medicines can give a faster effect, or our medicine is less pain, maybe without injection, etc.? That's also one of the considerations with regards to the disease then market. And then when they already complete with that concept, then they start to thinking that's how the cost of developing, whether dislike or not, this industry is like the coin, two-side coin. One is the business matter and the other one is a human health. So this is something that we also cannot deny, that this is also the things that they also consider, because the cost of development, if you see later in the next slide, is also involve a lot of the timing, resources, and also funding. Okay, so in the general, so this is the very try to make the simple step on the drug development. So when they already define that, okay, let's start to develop this product, we are going to point at this disease, and this disease also have a good market, and so far the competitor in the market is still manageable, that we can fight with it. And then they start to, I think the same with the other, when we like to have the new developed product, that we need to have the target product profile. So we define that how the medicine would like to be in the dosage form, whether in tablet, in syrup, injection, infuse, inhalations. They try to define that. And then after that, they try to define what will be the testing, the evaluations that they need to set up in the strategy, and what kind of compound that we would like to choose. So because either is a chemicals or is a biologic product, so they need to evaluate which one that suit with their plant. Then they will also evaluate how that structures can, I mean, that they cannot have the, for example, they would like to have the biologic product, but then the structure itself is very sensitive to the heat, or very sensitive to the temperature, to the light. So it's also cannot be used as medicine, because then when we would like to scale up to industry where we introduce the heat, then the that substance is become weak and cannot give the pharmaceutical effect. And they also see that how that characters can give the efficacious. We call it is to identify the pharmacophore. Is like a terminology in pharmaceutical that we define what will be the form of the substance that we like to develop. And when we already select that and we try to simulate it, for example, that substance would like to be used for cardiovascular illness. So they need to simulate to check that whether that drug is really give that interactions, even though it's in the vivo, means that outside the body in the lab, they start to make a simulation, so to give the indications, the initial indication whether this is can be work or not. Then they also see that how this medicine would how this medicine have a reaction in our body, and how our body will react to that medicines. So that's a very long process on the research and developments to find the really selected substance for them to develop further. So once they already got the candidates, sometimes the candidates may not be two, it can be several, and they start to go to the what we call it is toxicology and safety tests. So we start to do the like a clinical trials to test it with the animal first, just to see that how it's react to the actual mammalia, because they will select the animals that more or less can have the anatomy and physiology is like a human, is a mammalia. So they try to test it. So when the result is promising, then they try to, at the same time they think that how this is developed later on, would that be possible to scale it up to industrial scale, because it's also not used that, oh yeah, this is good, but then we cannot put it in the industrial scale. Then at the same time, if they may start with the patenting and also do all the regulatory preparations, because after they have the promising result, they may start to do the submission to the authority. Then they start with the clinical trial. So the process itself for the lead discovery, when they are doing the selecting the substance, etc., is take about 5 to 6 years. Then when they already have the selected candidate, then they start to come to the clinical testing, and they will do the investigational new drug activity. So that's what we call it, the clinical trial. So once we have successful in the clinical testing, then we start to do the clinical trial with a human. And then the phase itself, they have like 1 to 3 phases until they can do the submission to get the approval to the market. And once it get the approval, they still need to do another phase for phase 4 is a pre-market clinical trial, is to check that whether it's still consistent, giving the efficacy as expected after the product is already in the market. And the investigational new drug product itself is have a two type, is the non-commercials and the commercials. So the non-commercials is more like the one that we are doing in the academic, in the university, and sometimes it's only focused for certain patients where it's only rare disease, and but there is no medicines available in the market, and they start to do the small research for having that only for that particular patients. And also have commercials. Then the commercial is, yeah, for sure, to have the approval for the bigger market, and they may come and then normally they will patent that product, and then they will supply to all over the world. So there is two type on that. But would that be possible from the non-commercial become commercial? Yes, that also possible. So, I mean, if it is promising and we found that it also can be benefit for other unmet patients illness, then this also can move to the commercials development. So how is the design? So it takes, as you see here, that for the initials discovery is 6 to 5 years. Phase 1, where we need to do a small scales clinical trial with the small respondent, is about 1.5. Phase 2, 2, and a phase 3, 3.5. And then when they get approval, for example, I take the FDA 1.5. So in total is already beyond 10 is about 15 years. So that's the durations to discover the medicine. So, and within that durations, there is a lot of activity for the pharmaceutical industry and biopharmaceutical industry to collect the data to prove that this is really give the benefit to the patients that really need the medications. What will be at glance when the drugs comes to the preclinical trial? So this is actually to check that would that be give the very savory effect to the human, means that if we are giving it to mouse, to rabbit, would that be give the immediate immediate effect like mortality, etc. But if it's really happened, then they will not continue with the process, because then from the first step is already failed. So they will see that how the product happening in the body, and how that product is absorbs into the blood circulations. And then they also see that how that's distribute to the through the body. Would that be reaching the target? For example, like I said, the cardiovascular, would that be reaching the our heart properly to cure the illness? And then after they cure the illness, can the metabolite be out from the body? Because if we take the medicine and it cannot be cleaned out through our urine or through our secretions, then it also can become a poison for the long-term usage. So they will evaluate that during the preclinical trial, because it is not safe if we are immediately go to the human without the preclinical data. And this is why the preclinical trial is still needed. I believe that for us as a human, we also don't want to be injected by something that never be tried before or never have a data before. So this is like a really preclinical trial before the drug is introduced to the human. Then we move to the clinical trials, where the object is the human. So this is really comes to evaluating the safety and the efficacy. When we do the clinical trial, we already have the data. We already know that the dosage that's safe to be introduced to the human based on all the calculations that they have it. So they do have the calculation if the mouse can accept this certain amount per body weight, then then they do the calculation, it equal to certain amount for body weight for human, and sometimes they may lower it just to make it is still safe if something unexpected reactions after it is introduced to the human. And then the clinical trial is really to find out the dosage tolerance, whether this is to give the efficacious, and how is the drug really react in the human body, and how to investigate if there is an unexpected adverse effect on the human. And we move to the phase 1. So we finish the preclinical trial, we get the safety doses that we can inject to the human, and then we start with the phase 1 clinical trial. The aim is to further evaluate the drug safety evaluations, and we define the dosage range. Then we observe, is there any adverse effect that happens to the human? And then this is like to give the early proof of drug efficacious. And normally it's just a small group of people is selected. They will go through all the the ethics, through the ethic regulation. So we cannot just pull anyone from the street and then there you go to ours and do clinical trial. No, there is an ethic form that they need to fulfill, and is also observed by the ethic committee in Indonesia. We also have an ethic committee located near to the RSCM, the Cipto Mangunkusumo Hospital. So that's the body will evaluate that to ensure that the test is really objective. The patients, the human that's selected is really selected according to the criteria, so we can get the data that really represented the actual results. And it takes about 1.5 years, can be more, can be less. It's dependent whether we can get the peoples that according to our criteria. And during this phase, the success rate is 70%. So we may fail, or we may got a promising result to move to the phase 2. And in the phase 2 is further to prove the concept of the product. We say that, oh, this is to cure the cardiovascular illness. So we need to start proving with the bigger populations, and then so we are target um, the duration about 2 years for the whole process. And normally in this phase, the success rate is a bit lower, because when you get more participants, you may got a lot of variable, the races, the diet type, the genetic factors, etc. So they may not, the result may not conform with the expected efficacious that we would like to have for the new drug development. So this is like the phase 2 to further evaluate, are we going to move to the phase 3 with the result that may not really sound promising? Yes, if given effect, but maybe not that significant compared to those that already in market, or we just stop here. Because if we are continue, there will be a lot of costs, resources, and also time consuming that need to be considered. So in the phase 2, so all this information is collected, whether the dose is correct, whether there is a short-term effect, and then are we going, maybe we found that the result is promising, and the team, the investigations team decided to, okay, let's expand the number of patients. That's also possible, just to see that whether it's also give an effect to another races, another type of
Product development boring.
and then it's also need to see that whether we need to expand the study, like for example, like China always said that if you like to have the new drug product in our country, you need to have the clinical trial to be tested here. So maybe that's one of the decisions that, oh, let's do additional clinical trial in China. So because there's kind of a big market, that is also part of the collected information after in the phase 2 clinical trial. But in this phase 2 in the phase 2 meeting, this is what I said, that this is very the moment of truth. Are we going to go to the phase 3, which is need more patient, etc., because it costs a lot, or maybe the study is not promising, let's drop it and let's move to another project that maybe sounds promising, because normally the pharmaceutical industry may have several drug development process happening. So they may see that, okay, this is more promising, and it's not, okay, let's stop here and then we continue the other one. So there's a lot of dynamic during the drug development in the industry, in the pharmaceutical industry. And this is what the phase 3, and this is the phase where we in the positions we can market or we cannot market. So this is the phase where we need to have our regulatory proof. So we say that our product can give the effect for the cardiovasculars. We need to prove it, whether this is only like a bias, or is this really give the effect. So in this phase, we are combining the clinical trial between the real product and the placebo product. And we really need to see that whether it's really give an effect, and we comparing statistically the result using the placebo and the result using the real product. And sometimes when the study is designed, we never know that whether the patients receive the placebo or whether the patients is receive the the real product. This is to avoid any bias by the patient itself or by the doctors that do the investigations. But there is someone that really know that which patient that got which type of sample, whether it's placebo or whether it's the real product. So with all the data collected, and we start to compare that whether it's significant difference or not significant difference. If we have the drug that already, that our drug has a competitor in the market, so we need to also compare it with those, because the health authority may questions that, okay, you have a new product with the same efficacy like the one that in the market. Can you prove it that you are better than that? What is your advantage compared with those already in the market? Because if it is not give the benefit to the patients, normally the regulatory body is reluctant to give that, because they also don't want to give unnecessary option of medicines for the patients. So if it is not really give the significant impact from the one that already in the market, they are normally really precautious on giving the approval. And in here, the success rate is lower, so it's about 25% from all the study that is submitted. And then it's a quite painful when we fail in this process, because the number of patients is a number of populations that we do the clinical is already a lot, sometimes involving several countries. And then the production scale itself is already up, because we need to produce a clinical trial product more than phase 1 and phase 2. So it's about a medium scale of industrials batch. So then this is really, if it is fail here, is give a lot of hit to the company in terms of the financials, because they already spent a lot. And the key point here is is how we can prove the medicines that already in the phase 3 is really worth to submit to get the approval. And it is a lot of data and involving all the statistic evaluations to compare the placebo, our drug, and if it is we have a competitor, and also we need to compare it with the competitors, and we also need to maybe need to add more patients to the study. Let's say we would like to have a study on the race, Asia race, Africa race, and this is also part of the data that collected before we can submit it to health authority to get the approval that this drug can be marketed and supplied to the patients. Let's say we already success, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we get all the data and we are ready for submission. So we collect all the data. So the data is really a bunch of data that's really submitted, and it takes a lot of months for the process itself, because you also give the health authority time to evaluate, to criticize, to scrutinize whatever data that's submitted. And then if it's really significant, give the benefit to the patients, then the health authority may come to the approval stage. They may say that, okay, yes, your product is promising. The data shows that it is really give the benefit to the illness, then you get the approval. Okay, then we start to do the commercials. We are producing the batch in the industrial scale, and we start to supplying to the market, etc. So are we finished with the clinical trials? Actually not. There is still another phase of clinical trials that we call it in the phase 4. So this is actually the real one, where you are start to get the actual result on the patients in the market. So for these cases, normally we use the pharmacovigilance, that the term of that is the activity to keep collecting the data from the patients to ask, is there any further adverse reactions of the medicines that you are taking? Normally, all this is prescriptions, so they may get further data from the doctors that prescribe the medicines to the patients, and then we are like start to collecting again all the data and submit to the health authority to say that yes, even after the product is approved, it still shows that it's really give the benefit to the patients. Then how is the success rate? So would that mean that if you already approved, then it will be approved forever? Yeah, when it's come to this phase, might say that the success rate is about 70 and 90%, but there is also a case where the product that already marketed is recalled back because after several uses, then they found there is severe reaction to the patients and it cannot be tolerated. And for that situation, the health authority may say that, okay, stop and recall all the product. So we cancel your approval and sorry for say that you cannot supply this product anymore. So this is happen. And then it's again, normally if the pharmaceutical company that has this, their stock will be like jump down to very low level, but it is happening. And then the duration of the exposures is normally dependent how the data on the phase 1 until the phase 3, and is really based on the discussion also the authority how long that we would like to collect the data for the post-market clinical trial. And this is the key point. So it's really not the story is not yet end. You still need to get the data, and we need to collect the information for any doctors that prescribe it to the patient and ask, is there any adverse reactions? Do you find a nausea, vomiting, or any bad to your body after a certain month of using the medicines? And then it's also this is also like the collecting data for improvement. For example, we found that, oh, this product can be modified to improve another illness based on the data that collected, because maybe the patient said that, oh yeah, after I take this medicine, it's not only I feel okay, but I found that my hair is more is growing more. Is this also kind of informations that could lead to another opportunity for the drug development? And then when it is already in the post-market clinical trial, there also a period where we stop the clinical trials. We're not calling it clinical trials. What we say that is a pharmacovigilance activity, but it's still like collecting all the safety informations, and I see that on the populations, and it's also give the feedback to the company whether they can develop, maybe they can modify the substance to become more easy to be used by the patients. For example, we do have a tablet, and we found that, oh, this product is also good in injections and give faster effect. And based on that information, that then normally the pharmaceutical industry start to develop a new type of pharmaceutical dosage from tablet to the injection. So that's really give the informations to back to the industry to keep improving the product. Okay, that's a long story of the medicines. Maybe we would like to know that, oh yeah, how much does it cost? So it's a lot. Or the clinical trial spending based on the data I got it from several sources, and then try to make the average on that is like about 35 billion US dollars to develop the product until the clinical trial successful. So it's really pains. Like I said, if we fails in the last stage, in the third phase or the fourth phase, or even if after we are supplying, then immediate, and then all of a sudden the product need to be the approval need to be revoked, then it's really cost the company a lot. And why so much? Because it's really related to the data. We need to hire the statistic persons that very expert in the statistician to review the data. We may have like programming to ensure that we are not managing manual data, and we also need to monitor the patients, and we also need to have like the regulatory matters to pay. Normally, if we are submit to the health authority, there also a cost on that for each phases that we are progressing. And then when we come to approval, we may not only approve in US, we may register to EU, we register to Japan, we register to China, and also costs a lot of money on that. And then not to mention about the doctors that we hires, and then the nurse that we hires. There's all the experts that need to be involved to the study. So it's really a lot of money, and take more than 15 years for developing the product. And how is the commercial viability? So the commercial viability is, like I said, that in the beginning is the failure is more on the safety, means that after they try to the human and they found that, oh, there is a safety issue, I cannot proceed on. And when we move to the phase 2, what is the main problem that make the studies fail? It's the efficacy. The efficacy. So means that after we studied in the larger community, we found that, oh, the efficacy is not like what I expected. The current medicine in the market already give that efficacy, so it's not give any further benefit to continue the clinical trial. Then we stop that. And it's also the same like in the phase 3, when we combine, we compare with the placebo, we compare with the one that the market, our efficacy is just so, and we found that even if we like to continue to the applications, the cost of productions, the cost of marketing, the cost of distribution, etc., is not really compelling to proceed further. So that will be the main reason why at the end the pharma industries think that, okay, let's stop here, let's stop here, let's stop here. So it's really thorough evaluations before they may say that, okay, let's continue to phase 2 or let's continue phase 3, because they know that the implications that hit to the especially in financial is really hard. Then you may have in mind that, okay, there is a lot of 15 years, why COVID all of a sudden is just happening within 1 year, maybe less. I think that's always pop up in our mind. That it's also a pop up when I'm a pharmacist. I also say that, oh, okay, that fast. We already have a vaccine now. So actually, there is a fast track. So in the regulations, if you're interested to see that how's the regulation of new drug application, they do have the fast track. And how is the fast tracks? How is the fast track imply? With the fast track, based on our interest, so we just go to the health authority saying, and I would like to register this, and please have it fast track. No, that actually has a criteria. So is for normally is for unmet medical requirements. So for the very very unique illness that there is no medicine that can cure that, and all of a sudden we found that, oh, there is a very good candidate for as a medicine for the illness, for the unique illness. So for that, yes, can be fast track. And for the pandemic, yes, is considered as the emergency use authorization, because at the time we don't have any option for not having a vaccines fast. So that's where all the vaccines go through. So it's like accelerated assessments, and very exception circumstances means that when there is application of the COVID vaccine, then everything is please step aside. So this is like the red carpet things that they need to review, and they need to put priority and put all the resources in the health authority to review all the document about the vaccine data. And then yes, there is no choice that we cannot wait until 3,000 populations, then we can move to the next clinical trial. It's not possible. So they really need to like a rolling review, means that when they have certain data and they submit, and the health authority do the review parallel while the clinical trial is still ongoing. And then when it comes to the supply, is also not like the normal supply. We know that everything was, if we're aware that how the COVID-19 is vaccine is distributed, so they really know that which batch goes to which patient, etc., because they really need to evaluate the effect as the clinical trial is still ongoing when they start to distribute the vaccine. But is it safe? Yeah, is it safe? Because they still go through all the steps. It's just they make it the parallel with the review. So normally, if we are finished phase 1 and we are collecting the data, we make a report, etc., then we go to the health authority, and then we wait the health authority to review our data. Then health authority say that okay, it's okay. Then you can go to the second phase. No, but that's not happening in the COVID. So they really like, okay, they have 10, they do the health authority, and the health authority do the review and give the feedback. Oh, you need to add this, and then they start to adapt the request, and they start to do study parallel together with the review. So that's why we see that the comparison timeline is really significant differences, but it doesn't mean that during the review they are try to sacrifice all the data, or they try not to do preclinical trial, etc. No, they actually still doing that, but everything is fast. All the resources put in that step to evaluate. And how come they can come with the substance very quick? But actually, all the pharmaceutical company have a bank. Have the bank is where they have like a they identify something. This is actually potential for medicine, but I think not now. So they keep it in the bank. And this is also similar with the vaccine. They actually already have the bank of the chemicals that, oh, this is my potential for this, for this, for this, but they are just not uh, evaluated further because there is no need. There is not yet a need to develop further. So when it comes to this pandemic situation, and they start to collect their database, whether they have something that they can immediately develop to become a vaccine. So if you see that the timeline itself, on June 2020 January, we got the notification that, oh, there is a new virus come. And then 11 March, they said, oh, it's a global pandemic announced. And then after that, we see that AstraZeneca start to develop, and then Moderna in July start to develop, and then AstraZeneca said that, oh, I have the promising result on that. And then the Moderna start to phase trial, and then they even stop the phase trial because they have something that they need to rectify. I think there is several issue that we heard in the news. And then Pfizer start to expand to the phase 3 trials. And then after that, so GNG began the phase 3 trial. So I can imagine then how hectic the activity was. And then we know that GNG also helped the vaccine trial because they need to rectify something where they got the feedback from the health authority. And then when January 2021, then we have the vaccine variant. So I can imagine that the 15 years, and all of a sudden it can be comprised to very short. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they are they start to not doing or not checking the things even until now. the evaluations of the vaccine is still ongoing, just to collect the data or to see that whether the vaccine is really give the adverse effect to the patients after certain booster. Now we already in the second boosters. So how is possible? So because like say that the patient is easy to get. We can imagine that during the COVID there is a lot of COVID patients, so we can get all the population of patients to start the clinical trial easy. And it's also not doing by one country. Whole the world start to do that. So they collect the data, they pull all the data, and during the pandemic was managed by WHO, and then they share among the health authorities. So like a BPOM start to get the information from US FDA, from the EMA, from those countries that already approved certain vaccine. And if we know that when the vaccine can be used to the kids, then we also see that the informations that is also used in UK, that can be injected to the kids, and then all the data and information also roll out to Indonesia. Then it's also, as I said, it's not purely developed. All a pharmaceutical company has a database. They have the bank for the candidate for certain things, but they just not develop it. So they're really screening for that to see which substance that fit to, or which virus that fit to this medicine. And then they do the rolling, so they don't wait, then they do the rolling and skip continue, and the patient is also available in each country. And then they don't have to compare with the placebo, because this is we don't have the medicine and we are in the pandemic, so we really need to really see that the direct application would that be mellow down the severity of the virus. If that, then let's move. And this is how it's the progressing. So you can see that the comparison when it is fast track and when it is normal. So indeed, there is a possibility to get it fast, but there should be criteria to be fulfilled before we can say that, oh yeah, can be proceed to the fast track. So I hope up to now is still interesting. It's not because it's really a long process that they need to comprise in a few slides. And the next, I would like to give the flavor how's the drug development in Indonesia. I think just to wake up the people a bit more, can we have another poll? Just to see that whether people is still tuned in.
I will launch the poll.
So with all the story that I have, maybe you can have the flavor, especially for Indonesian. Do you ever see that the drug development is ongoing in Indonesia?
The numbers is coming in, still moving. We wait another 15 seconds. Okay, I will close the poll. Yeah.
I love it. We have, I love that you have the positivity. Yes, you are right. I mostly say that there is a drug development in Indonesia. If you go through the internet, try to Google the research and everything. Yes, there is a drug development happening in Indonesia, but we can admit that the process is quite slow. It's like mainly like a university-based research. So far as there is no much that's going to the industrial scale, that we're hoping that with these situations, there is a lot of industries start to invest to all those research that's happening in the university. And what normally happen in Indonesia is more on the product transfer, so technology transfer. So let's say the product is already developed and developed in US or in Europe, and is already in the market, and they start to like moving that manufacturing site to other regions. That's actually also considered a drug development, but only at the production site. And that is the main activity that considered high in Indonesia. But if you ask, is there any drug development from the new inventing from the new innovation? We still have, but it's very still limited, and the speed is not as fast as we compare with the first world market. But I hope that this progress will be boosted, because as you see that during the development, during the pandemic, countries start to secure their supply. So like China now, they secure the supply. So they ensure that all the drug that they produce is secured first for China market. And it's really hit the whole world a lot, especially also Indonesia, that where we get all the active pharmaceutical ingredient from China. And that also makes our government start to think to really have a resilience in pharmaceuticals ingredient and pharmaceutical active ingredient. So we see that is start boosted in December 2021. So where we've been alerted that 90% of pharmaceutical ingredient and active pharmaceutical is imported. So it's really not so good for the future of the country, because we have the big populations and we really depend on the other countries for the medicine. So it's really need to have a local drug development, local manufacturing for pharmaceutical ingredient and active ingredient. And we see it in the news that by 2026, the government expect that from 90%, at least it can be reduced into 70%, where they can get it locally. So actually, we started. If you start to Google in the news, that we do have the drug developments produced in Indonesia, but not like a new invented, but it's like for example, we have paracetamols, and then we just make a paracetamol local. So those that are already well known. We are hoping that by soon that we are able also to try to develop the drugs from the new invented from the new chemical, because we do have the herbal here, and we also have a lot of natural resources for us to do the development at our country. But yes, that's our hope, that our wish, but we do have a challenge that we also need to we need to address. It is how to get the development also can be done by the partnership with other company, for example, but they develop it in Indonesia. But the challenge is how we can get the trusted partner. And then how is the accessibility of the local market, how we can if we produce that, would that be our local industry willing to buy from us, or they trust our quality, etc. And how's the political stability? Is it become government focus, or at the moment government is not that focused on that, but having seen the news that now is become a focus of Indonesia to become a resilience in pharmaceutical industry. And then how is the innovation is really environment friendly? Do we have a skilled workforce? Because all this pharmaceutical really needs somebody that skills in terms of the chemical engineering, pharmaceutical, And then also medicine, etc. We have the skilled workforce for that. And if it is produced in the large scales with the automations, do we have the work skills, the skilled workforce to enable that technology? And then how about the supporting industry? Because when we would like to produce the medicine, we also need to have the precursor. We need to have the another ingredient, another chemical. It's also not really benefit if we produce locally. Let's say we produce paracetamol locally, but we still import all the chemical from other countries, so it's really also not resilient, so it's not independent. So this is something that the things I think the government and us need to work out how to support the progress, because being resilient in pharmaceutical is really a key for us to survive and to thrive for the futures. And lastly, but and we cannot avoid it, is we have the budget for that. There is money allocated to this industrial sector, because this is not the cheap industrial sector. It's really a very expensive one and takes certain years before the product is available. So in summary, I might say that yes, is a long and complex project for the drug development, but is really provide a lot of challenge and also knowledge. And then when the drug is become approved and then can cure the illness, etc., is really give the to benefit the benefit for the company that develop, and also the benefit for the human, where we increase the healthiness. And from the beginning, that the selecting the candidate for the drug development is a key, and monitoring the project on each phase, from the preclinical, clinical, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, is really need the focus and really need to evaluate the data thoroughly. Because if we fail on make decisions where we push the project to the phase 3 and the phase 4 without proper considerations, then it will waste of money and it will waste of time without benefit to the patients. So the checkpoint is really need to be in place. So when we end the preclinical trial, is it safe to be injected to the human? And when the phase 2, before entering the phase 3, is it really promising to go to the bigger populations for the trial? And then after the phase 3, and then we also need to decide that, okay, now we are ready for for approval. Is our marketing, our strategy, and everything already in place? And one is come to the phase 4. Are we able to collect more data to sustain the product in the market for long term? And how we can improve the productivity? Shall we move it to the other regions that more cost effective, so we can still have gain the profit from the market? So then the profit can be invested to another research and development. So I think knowing the drug development is also important for us to support the government policy on in terms of the being resilience. And then I also hope that being resilience in pharmaceutical sector is really boosted the drug development in Indonesia. And then hopefully that whatever the project of drug development that happening in Indonesia with this policy is really improve better Indonesia for pharmaceutical sectors resilient moving forward. I think I already in the last slide, Pak Bimo, I think I will return back to you. I do open for any question, if any.
Okay, thank you for the session, Bu Mimi. We have many questions.
Oh,
I actually prepare my question, but I think I will just go to the question from the audience because I hope we can answer all.
mm,
Okay, the first one you can see also on your screen is from Dedi Waskita, Pak Dedi Waskita. The
mhm.
question is on the first stage of drug development, what's the main goal of the
Sorry,
research?
you in the chat or where, Bimo? You
In
are
the chat,
reading it? Or in the chat?
yes,
Okay,
in the
hold
chat
on,
box.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
because
what?
okay, go to the
Yeah,
first, yeah.
yeah. The first one from Pak Dedi
Okay,
Waskita. Yeah.
yeah.
So the question is on the first stage of drug development, what is the main goal of the research? Is it drug effectiveness or cost concern? Cost, maybe he think about the financial return. Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a very good question because this industry is really like the two side of coin. So, but the things that what is the key driven Pa Dedi is that is more on effective. The effectiveness means that if really can be proven that it is effective, normally the industry will find out how to make it commercials. Because if there is no others product that give the level of effectiveness like the product that they develop or of the certain pharmaceutical company, and is really give the promising that disease will be long lasting, existing in the market. So the effectiveness is one of the key drivens. For the technical things, then how it is become industrial scales, that they will find a way to make it possible. But would that be successful every time? I may say that not 100%. There are also the very good candidate for the medicine, but when they try to scale it up, the substance is very weak. If we heat it a bit in a certain temperatures, and then the efficacy is gone, and that for that things, then there is no option for them to drop the candidate and try to find a way. But if you can prove it is a very effectiveness, from the industry, from the productions, from the technology development, they will find a way how to make it happen to become the industrial scale.
Oh, so basically make a good product first and then the money will come to you,
Now,
right?
the technology will try to adapt it. I think I will not
Okay.
say the money will come first, but the technology will try to adapt it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So the second question, actually he's asking two questions. The second is
Okay.
what is really happening on generic and on non-generic. So what is the different generic and non-generic?
Okay. I may say that the generic. So the product, they have three actually: the originator or the patent. So the originator of the patent, so they are the first one that invented the drug. So they may get the patent for the 15 years or 10 years, is depend on how it was set up in the beginning. So then when the patent is about to off, then other companies start to copying. If they're copying by having maybe I don't want to put, can I put the brand here,
The
or
name
is not?
brand? No.
No, okay. So
No.
okay. So we know that there is a very very well-known brand for the headache. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the chemical name is paracetamol, but they put it in their brand, and that's actually not considered as patent anymore. Is considered non-generic, or we call it is the branded generic. Okay. Then if we go to the government insurance program, the government insurance program, then when they do the prescriptions, they prescribe the medicine, they put it the chemical name paracetamol. If they put it the chemical name paracetamol, that's generic. So I hope
Okay.
that's clear for Pak Didi.
So it's actually the same object, but with different package, different name.
Yes, correct. Yeah, they're hoping that by with different package, people may attract to buy with the colorful things compare with those that provided by the government insurance system is just only like the very plain packaging, etc. So that's considered brand. So it's not only generic or non-generic. So there is a patent, branded generic, and generic.
Okay, then we continue. The second person asking question is from Pak Arif Prastyo. Hi,
Yes.
Miss Mimi. Yes, I'm reading the question. It seems like a new drug is managed as a product and probably follows the product life cycle. So typically when a product goes into maturity phase or a decline phase, the company will create enhancement to extend the life of the product or to transition customer into a new product. How is it done for drugs product? Is it every enhancement seen as a completely new product or it's still on the same product?
Okay, so there is a possibility to do the enhancements. First, that's as you see that there is a phase 4 clinical trial, and then actually is also the phase where they collect all the unexpected indications that may occur by consuming the product. So by having that information, and they can use it as a feedback to modify it to become better. For example, that yes, the product is quite good to if they use in tablet, and then they may do the innovations that okay, I think if this is for the respiratory tract for the lung or for the throat, maybe they think that okay, this is good by tablets. How about if we put it like inhalations? Would that be also beneficial for the patient, and patient get the benefit immediately, because when you do the inhalation is immediately go to the target of the illness, rather than you eat the if you consume the tablet and you need to all the way go to the metabolism. That is normally how it can be happen for the enhancement. And then they also like they also do the research. For example, they make a combo. If like if in initial launch they may have one active pharmaceutical ingredient, and then they found that from the clinical trial phase 4, when this patient eat together with these medicines, the indication is getting better. Or maybe we can create the new product with the 2 active ingredients. One is our original, and the other one that maybe the one that existing. So they make it a combo medicines. That also possible. Or they may be just like the put it like in the different package is also part of the life enhancement. So it's very there is a possibility to do that. So even though like the product is close to part of patent, for example, like I think this is a very very familiar, the medicine is like Viagra. They're able to extend the patent because they can prove it that the Viagra is also can be used for another illness other than the main indication of the Viagra. So that's actually the feedback from the phase 4 clinical trial, that they can use it to enhance and to maintain the product in the to be long lasting in the market.
Yeah, and if we like to extend the product by let's say making it in other form of dosage, yeah. So is it going to the clinical trial again, and on which phase?
It is a very abbreviated, as a very not the full one. So it's depend on what kind of potential indications that we are claim. And normally it will not go to the preclinical trial because we already know the product is safe. We may need to like do the phase 3 to have the certain to compare it with the placebo, with our new inventions from the existing one, and then after that we submit to the health authority and then let them review whether the improvement that we had is really giving additional beneficial from the initial one. Then we get the approval. So it's not like a full normally, but again, that's is also depend on what kind of change that you put on the hands and on the enhancement.
Yeah, I try to remember. Phase 3 is actually the clinical
last
trial
before
before it is
submitted. Yes,
submitted for distribution, right?
for approval.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so we move to the next question from Pak Yofi Manova. He is asking how long is the development for medicine from initiating until mass production, and how long the average life cycle of medicine product? Maybe you can
Okay.
give
Okay.
the data.
Okay, so I think for this one, for the develop until it is approved is about 15 years. And about the long lasting, the patent is about 5 to 10 years, but sometimes can be reduced. It depend on how critical is the product, and then whether it's long lasting. It's really depend on the indications. For example, like paracetamol is already invented since I think it's around 1960, and it's still good till now, because we cannot we don't have any much options on that. And not about options, but I think paracetamol is something that really good for curing the quick symptoms. And then we also have the aspirin, is also from 1960, and it still can be used for the analgesic, for painkiller. And at the same time now they also use for there is a for cardiovascular, to reduce the thickness of the blood. It's really very because this is depend on the, is there any other alternative for the medications. But the things now, for example, aspirin was initiated by Bayer. So then but now if there is a lot of company make the aspirin, it will not, the royalties will not going to Bayer. So but it will give the benefit to all the small industry to continue to supply the aspirin, and still existing and use until now.
But basically, after the the patent is finished, then there will be a lot of Me Too product.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
For that.
and the originator need to fight to keep the market share. Normally, the Me Too product is cheaper than the originator. So the strategy for the originator is they try to when it's close to patent, so they try to transfer it to the other region that more cost effective, so they can still compete in the market even though there is a Me Too product existing.
Okay. Okay. So basically, the ones that stays until now is actually the active ingredient, which is no longer patented, right?
Yes, correct. No longer
Okay.
patent.
Okay, then we continue with next question from Ibu Ineke Andrayani. She would like to know about the drug development projects nowadays. Is the development recently more focused on new drugs, new chemical substance? I think she means the active ingredients.
Yes.
Or developing the existing product, Me Too product, or more focused on developing the technology for the drug administration, such as
Okay.
sustained release drug, extended release drug, or maybe patch. Could you explain the reason why the development is focusing on one of those above?
Okay, so whether it start from the new chemical, I may say that for the first world country like US or Europe, and they now really focusing on getting a new one because that makes their company survive. Beyond those big companies really need a new chemical entity or new biopharmaceutical product for them to survive. So if you are asking that what is the more focus on, is really based on the region. But I can say that for those that in the first world, they really focus on the big company really focus on new chemical. But there's also a generic company that they don't have much expertise on developing from the new chemical, so they will wait, or they may start to develop something for the copy product. So when it's come to the end of the patent from the originator, they already have something to compete in the market. And then for Indonesia, I say that at the moment we still focusing on copying the from the originator. So we are copying the Me Too product to make either the brand generic or the generic. So mainly just to for example, one of the example is to be able to go to the JKN to be listed in our government insurance program, because that's really secure the volume. And then whether it's sustained release, whether they develop any sustained release, etc., is really they will see the need. Maybe like if they're focusing on the patient with diabetic, where they need to control the blood sugars, they may focus on the sustained release. So then we can steady the blood sugar along the way. So it's really depend on what the target market that they would like to focus. So there is a lot of the variable for the industry to focus on, whether they would like to go to the new chemicals development, or they start to do the Me Too product, or this whether they start to try to modify the administrative to become more innovative, like sustained release, etc., etc. And also now, if you know that there is also the technology where we can have the patch to release the patch that we put in hands to release the insulin or something to maintain the blood sugar. So it's really depend on the target product profile, market, and what is the disease that we would like to focus on.
Okay, hopefully that answered the question. So we move to the next from Pak Aditya Perdana. He's working as project manager, preparing the pharmaceutical facility. So this is maybe new factory. And he's asking how to synergize the preparation of production facility with the stage of R&D. Maybe on which phase we should build the factory, and on which scale the factory is.
Okay, so I read first the question. So Aditya Perdana, I work as also preparation and production facility. Okay, so if you are talking about the new, if you are talking about the new chemical, if you talking about the new chemical development from the beginning, based on the observations that we see that in many big company, and it's also based on the experience that is always start from the phase 3, but it doesn't mean that they are not start to develop from the small scales when it comes to the phase 2. if you're talking about from the new chemical entity, because when it comes to the phase 2, then you need to have more product, because the population of the population of the patients for the clinical trial is also getting bigger, and that actually it should start. But if you're talking about the transferring after the clinical trials, so this is really driven by when actually the originator want to release their product, because if they release their product to other sites, normally the originator site will lose volume. So it's really depend on the key driven of transferring the technology. But the synergize actually is really need to start from the beginning. I will suggest that it will start from the phase 2. So then because during the clinical trial is also there is adjustment in the formula. So whatever the change happening during the clinical trial in terms of the product dosage is also can be captured by the commercials later on. So they already know that the precautions, what the things that they need to take into consideration, etc.
Okay, I think we still have time. Maybe one more question. From the next one is from Pak Arif Prasetyo. How is commercial viability measured at each of the stages?
Okay, so the commercial viability, I think I better to go to the table. Okay, so the commercial viability, normally they will base on the 4 factors, so they will see that whether the product is safe, give the good effect, or and then these two will also lead to the commercial viability. Why? Because, for example, if the safety and the efficacy is so, they will do the calculations that who is our competitor in the market, and what is the market share of this product. And then after that, they will also evaluate that, okay, if let's say our product is really competitive, or is really good, the efficacious, how is the potentials market share that we can get from those that already existing. So that's how they start to evaluate the things. So if based on the calculation they found that, okay, if we are continue to the next stage, this is the cost that we have, but based on the data, the safety and efficacy is not significant different for those existing, or not significant from those that's from the placebo that they do during the trials, and they made the calculations that okay, this is may not be promising for us to continue for the next stage, or for us to continue for the commercials phases. So that's how in the nutshells how they see that. So they calculate the whole cost, and then they calculate how big the market share of this product, and how big is the how many patient of this disease that they can that really benefited from this, and whether that this is sometimes is a bit a pity, but it's also consideration that whether that market afford to pay certain amount of money for the new developed product that's going to be launched. So there is complex calculations on that, but mostly that they will see the efficacious of the new one, and they see how is the market share, so where is the country that mainly the disease happening, and whether that can fit into that that calculation, and then they may come to the, okay, this is not viable to move forward.
Okay, I think we are coming to the end of our
I'm so sorry
session.
for the rest of
We
the
still have
questions.
question, but very sorry to the audience, we could not answer all the question. So maybe if the question is forwarded to you, or they can contact you directly
Sure.
if they are interested.
Sure,
Is it
sure,
okay?
I'm happy to help.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so to audience who likes to ask question to Ibu Mimi, you can contact directly through LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all for the time
Thank
joining
you for your
our
time.
pranks, and now we take pictures to make a memory for our
Yeah,
prank
nowadays
session.
digital
Yeah,
generation, yeah.
yeah. Mas Rio, could you help to take pictures? Are you still there? He's in
I think,
Papua, maybe.
yeah, I will take the picture. I think Bu Mimi need to unshare the screen first, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. I think I already answered. No, stop.
Still.
Still. So what did you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we see that your battery is running low, Bu.
Oh, oh,
Okay.
really? Oh, okay.
Okay, I will start capture the screen, yeah. Hmm.
How many?
Okay, done.
4
Done.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you everyone for
Thank
the
you,
time. Thank you, Bu
everyone.
Mimi,
Thank
again
Thank
for
you.
you,
your time
Bimo. Okay.
joining our
Have a good
pranks.
evening, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, everyone.